Hi, I'm Steve Clemons. I direct the foreign policy programs at the New America Foundation and publish the political blog, The Washington Note. I'm here with an old friend, Ad Melkert, who's currently serving as special representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations in Iraq. He previously served as an executive director of the World Bank, a leading European politician from the Netherlands, and someone who knew the New America Foundation when we were really just hatched. So it's so great to have you here today. And you've just spoken to a group of people here today. You expressed cautious optimism about how things are going in Iraq. But wherever you look, you can easily see hiccups. Hiccups in the election law that we saw, hiccups in terms of some upticks in violence. And I'm interested, as you look at Iraq today, what are the things you're optimistic about? What are the wild cards you really are worried about?
Well, the reason that I'm cautiously optimistic is that you see really quite a number of Iraqis feeling the responsibility that is now theirs to make the new Iraq happen and tick, and also really progress in the kind of government that they have, the decisions that they take, the understanding what it requires to have a country that is offering opportunities for its people, interesting for investors. No one wants to go back to where they were, but at the same time they see that there are many needs. There are conflicting opinions as to how to address those needs. But you know, what I find really interesting is to see this parliamentary process. It's just like in Congress, how people are discussing with each other and striking a deal at the very last moment.
Across sectarian lines?
Yes, they have to, because no one has a majority. So there's a kind of coalition, parliament and government now in place that demands basically that compromises are being discussed and agreed upon at the end of the day. And this can bode well for the future. Of course, much will be defined by the security environment. Atrocious things have happened, yet the overall trend is certainly more promising than it used to be 1 or 2 years ago. And after the elections, it's also going to be a test with the gradual withdrawal of the American troops.
And so you think these elections are still going to go ahead? We have the election law passed, but there's been clearly this, at least a temporary veto or a temporary hold, if you will. Do you think things are going to proceed?
Well, as we speak, there are still negotiations going on, some changes and trying to agree, and we'll see what that will mean for the date. But I believe that the majority in the Iraqi parliament wants to have elections and wants to do it also without getting into trouble with the constitution and the constitutional requirements. So yes, I think we will see elections reasonably soon.
You know, I had the privilege of knowing Sergio Vera de Mello, who was tragically killed, assassinated, along with in the tragic bombing of the United Nations. And I imagine the sort of threat to you and your colleagues is fairly consistent and profound. But are you beginning to sense that change? Are you still living on the edge a little bit when you're over in Iraq? Are you able to get out? Can you give us just a snapshot of what that looks like? Because it's a very brave thing. I mean, I've known you for a long time. It's a very brave thing to be back in that environment when I wouldn't be there. So.
Well, I think it's fair to say that we're still living the edge, although far better protected than at the time that the UN was unfortunately naively thinking that they would not be a target of such atrocious attacks, because the UN is there to support the Iraqi people and with no other motive. Well, that has changed. I mean, when I was at UNDP, I oversaw the aftermath of the terrible bombing in Algiers. Recently, as you know, UN people got killed in Afghanistan.
It's tragic.
It's really very disheartening to see that people that give all their abilities to support the Afghans or the Iraqis or whoever else, that they are under that attack. Yet it is heartening to see. I mean, with all my colleagues working there, how many people continue to be motivated to be there, to help, to assist, to transfer essential knowledge from other places to the post-conflict or the conflict situations in which we are. And that is the mission of the UN. and, and many people are attracted to help that mission succeed.
You know, General Ray Odierno has the task of drawing down U.S. forces, combat forces, and moving them out. And Barack Obama seems to indicate that we're on schedule. And also the amount of money that we were pumping into the Iraqi community, part of the surge at that time and under General Petraeus, also seems to be something that will probably draw down. Are you nervous about that?
Well, the US has agreed a bilateral cooperation framework with the Iraqis, which I think is a sign of the US also knowing that they have to be there longer, but then on the Iraqi terms and not on the US terms, if I may put it that way. I think there will still be quite some challenges to the US, and I would say also to the Europeans and to others, to assist Iraq, because as we know, of every situation after conflict, reconstructing, repairing, rebuilding is not a matter of just a couple of years. It's a matter of a long period of time. And only when you invest, when you support, when you're an essential partner, can you help to avoid that people will return to the old days and the old conflicts and the old confrontation. That's what nobody wants to see. It would certainly not be in the interest of the US and of the world more generally, and that's why the international community should stand by Iraq for a long period to come.
Well, just in closing, I just wanted to say thank you, because I don't think international public servants get thanked enough. I think sometimes they're sort of the taken for granted folks out there, and I think what you've been doing in a variety of roles, but now on the front line in Iraq, is very important. So thanks so much, Ad, for joining us.
Good to see you again.
Yes, thank you.